On the surface, it always looks so harmless, right? A simple request, a quick favor, a message just asking for a little help. But for the person on the receiving end, it can feel like this tightening in your chest, a quiet internal conflict between what you want to do and what you feel you have to do. Today, we're going to explore that feeling and why it's so much more than just being nice.
I actually heard a friend of mine whisper this exact line once. Her phone buzzed with yet another request she just did not have the energy for. And that phrase, wow, it just perfectly captures that quiet struggle so many of us know. That silent agreement that completely overrides a screaming internal no. So, what is really going on here? This isn't just about being polite or helpful. We're about to get into the deeper psychology of why saying no can feel less like a choice and way more like a threat to your emotional survival.
To really get this pattern, we have to go back, way back. See, this instinct, it doesn't just show up out of nowhere in adulthood. It's often a strategy we learned a long time ago. It's a quiet echo from childhood.
It usually starts something like this. As a kid, you learn that being agreeable keeps the peace. Saying yes gets you approval, and that feels like safety, like connection. But disapproval? Oh, that can feel like being left out in the cold or even like a real threat. And over time, what started as a conscious choice just becomes an unconscious, protective instinct. And you can totally see how that childhood conditioning plays out in our adult lives, right? It's in these little, almost invisible habits. I mean, think about it. Answering a work message at 10 p.m. when you are completely wiped, just so you don't seem difficult. That's not just being dedicated. Nope. That's a direct continuation of that old survival pattern. Okay, so let's look at what's going on inside. This isn't just a behavioral habit. It is fueled by this really powerful combination of deep empathy and a profound fear of letting other people down. People who really struggle to say no are often incredibly empathetic. They can feel the potential disappointment in a room before a single word is even spoken. Their mind is literally wired to scan for and maintain emotional harmony. But this strength becomes a huge problem when their empathy for others just completely steamrolls their empathy for themselves. And this creates a kind of double life. On the surface, everyone sees them as the dependable one, the calm, go-to person. But underneath all that, they're often feeling totally drained, maybe even quietly resentful. And they're becoming more and more disconnected from who they actually are and what they really want.
And this gets right to the core of our identity. I mean, if your entire sense of self-worth has been built on being helpful and reliable, then saying no doesn't just feel like you're declining a request. It can feel like a personal failure, like you're tearing down the very person that makes you valuable to others.
Now, this pattern of constantly saying yes, while it might seem like it's keeping the peace, it comes at a huge hidden cost. It takes a really serious emotional toll over time. The damage doesn't come from one big act of self-betrayal. Oh no, it's a slow erosion. It happens grain by grain with every single small yes that should have been a no. We're talking about hundreds of tiny moments of self-abandonment that just keep adding up. And this leads to a very unique kind of fatigue. It's not the kind of physical tiredness that a good night's sleep can fix. No, this is a deep, soul-level exhaustion that comes from constantly giving away your energy, from being stretched way too thin for way too long. And the long-term consequences are serious. This isn't just about feeling tired. We're talking about complete emotional burnout, a quiet resentment that starts to build up, often at yourself. It creates these really imbalanced relationships and a deep, profound loneliness, the feeling of being completely unseen because you're too busy being who you think everybody else needs you to be. But, and this is a big but, here's the hopeful part. This pattern is not a life sentence. The path forward is all about reclaiming one of the most powerful and honestly healing words in our vocabulary. We have to completely reframe what no even means. It is not an act of aggression, it's not rejection, it is an act of clarity. It is simply you clearly and calmly stating your limits. And protecting your energy isn't selfish, not at all. It's actually one of the most responsible things you can do for yourself and for your relationships. The journey to get there, well, it happens in stages. That very first no after a lifetime of saying yes, it can be absolutely terrifying. Your mind might race with all the worst-case scenarios. But then, when you practice it, you discover this profound truth. The world doesn't fall apart.
And with that realization comes this incredible quiet relief that starts leading you toward a more authentic life.
And this is the real change, right here. You start to see the difference between the relationships that drain you, the ones that were built on your silent compliance, and the ones that actually sustain you. And those are the relationships built on mutual respect, where your boundaries aren't just tolerated, they're honored. And just look at what you gain. This isn't about losing people, it's about gaining yourself. You get your time back, you get your precious energy back. You start to attract people who actually respect your boundaries, and most importantly, you start to hear your own voice again, maybe for the first time in years.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What would change in your life if you just gave yourself permission to take up space? What if you stopped shrinking yourself down to accommodate everyone else? Because here's the quiet truth. The moment you learn to say no to what drains you, your world doesn't get smaller, it expands. You gain clarity, you gain